How do we become who we are, or better yet, who we're meant to be? The question has almost become a cliche, a joke even. It's filled with so much false sentiment and so many stories, fairy tales, or perhaps even disappointments that frequently we find that we're better off simply not asking it. Considered one of life's great questions, along with, for example, what's the meaning of life, or why are we here? The question becomes less and less worth our effort, the more and more it loses its meaning. With all of our technological advances, all of our great knowledge, all of our science and certainty about our world, the deep questions about our lives and about our existence can almost seem hokey in comparison. Our certainty about the physical world can sometimes be a cover, though. We run to it because we can touch it and feel it and think it. It becomes a device we use to hold off asking deeper questions about things we cannot prove or explain. We may even cling to the provable because we know that some of the more profound questions lead somewhere we're not willing to go. These deeper questions give purpose to our world and to our lives as well. And with purpose come demands, requirements, and burdens. This is a strong temptation, but one that we must resist. For purpose is not only what makes these other earthly pursuits noble, but it also drives us and pushes us to become who we're meant to be. And who we're meant to be are disciples of Christ, whose lives are a testament to these mysteries that we celebrate. Here in this church, we're surrounded by that which cannot be proven: the grace of our baptism, God's love for us, Christ's real and actual presence in the Eucharist, God's will for us, the existence of God for that matter. We need so much faith to live this faith that many could not even conceive of living a Christian life as a viable option. And so they simply leave or never come to us at all. But for us, the reality of this community gathered is a sign of God's love for us, a sign of his joy in us. It is these signs that strengthen our faith and permit us to overcome our weaknesses. These signs are as numerous as all those things that cannot be proven. And God gives us, through the prophet Isaiah and in the gospel, a concrete image that evokes the strong and sure sense of how God cares for us, helping us to examine those deeper questions and to grow into his faithful disciples. The image is, of course, the wedding feast, where the bridegroom rejoices in his bride, where God rejoices in us. God's happiness with us is the beginning of an answer. It's the beginning of a transformation. It gives us the confidence and the security to choose him and to choose the good that he wants for us and for the world. His love for us nourishes our faith and makes us secure in choosing his will despite the consequences. In his fidelity to us, God will never abandon us, even though we may stray from him. But it's not merely his presence with us, but his generous gifts of grace that give us the purpose, that transform us and change us. We need as much help as we can get, for we are constantly running short, as the hosts were at Cana when Jesus performed his first miracle. Of all the acts Jesus could have performed to manifest his glory, this particular one is a bit curious. The curiosity lies in the fact that it was not earth-shattering and doesn't seem all that important. So the hosts run out of wine. So what? But without wine, the hosts are no longer capable of hospitality. They're no longer capable of caring for their guests and showing generosity and joy at the start of this marriage that they were celebrating. And so, with no touching or waving of hands, with no rituals or even direct words, Jesus provides. The water is changed into wine, and Jesus not only furnishes the choicest of wines for the wedding feast, he manifests himself for the first time through a miracle as the Messiah. Such is the nature of our miraculous transformation from humble sinner into beloved and cherished disciple. No one touches our eyes and ears. No one waves hands over us. Jesus doesn't look us in the face and say, "Be healed." However, we are loved. We come, we participate, we receive him, and we are changed. He speaks to us through the Word and the Eucharist and through the rituals that he has commanded. Do this in memory of me. We do it, and bread is changed into his body. Wine is changed into his blood. We are changed into someone we never thought we could be, but had always hoped we would be. The choicest of wines that reveals God's glory. Also at the wedding feast, Mary, our mother and advocate, with her command, "Do whatever he tells you," advises us about how to relate to her son, how to grow closer to him, so that miracles may happen in our own lives. These miracles don't have to be on the level of physical or material transformation. Nevertheless, the simple graces that we need to do as he tells us, and to live in him, despite our sicknesses or obstacles, physical or spiritual, are as close as ever. Each grace that we receive is a renewal of God's commitment to us and his joy in us, as well as his call to live our baptism and the Eucharist we celebrate. As St. Paul tells us, this transformation, this gift of grace, and the Spirit all produce in each one of us some benefit. In coming to the feast, we become more and more his own, so that we may work with him to bring the feast to the world. The diversity of charisms that St. Paul cites encourages us to grow in our discipleship and to discover in what ways we can manifest Christ's glory. The walls of this church and this university are not a limit to us, but a starting point in our evangelization and transformation of the culture and the world. We have tasted God's faithfulness and God's grace, and we know and feel and think the joy and the life that it brings. Indeed, my brothers and sisters, the deeper questions of life may have become burdensome and ordinary, but they are still worth asking. The answers about God and about ourselves may turn out to be just as ordinary, or even as mundane as worrying about having enough wine for the feast. But as we learn today, God can certainly make himself known in the ordinary. Not all of us will get the chance to do great feats that will irrevocably change the world. Our becoming who we are is in each and every small conversion, each and every little transformation, each and every choice that we make to live a life for God, manifesting God's infinite glory in our simple, beautiful, and miraculous discipleship in Christ.